programming is going to drive that facility need. But, pulling wire, I can pull wire any place. So, I mean, I'm just trying to think about discussions that you might have design-wise and those kinds of things.
Yeah, I'll just speak to my experience. So when I was able to observe, not suggest, but observe a lot of the CMAR interaction between CCSD staff, between the contractors that were awarded to be early on in design, and then the architects. It was a very collaborative discussion. In fact, when things were looking to be over budget and things, this was just after COVID, things were like grossly over budget. I think everybody put their heads together pretty quickly and pretty effectively to make quick decisions that normally would take probably a long time if you did a normal delivery method like design, bid, build. Right. But one thing that I did notice that was resounding in all the meetings is everything was designed around flexibility. Okay. Yeah, and then I think it was CP5, we had to do kind of a shell game of demoing or having, one building that's slated for demo and then using the field as the new construction and then demoing that building and then using it as a field. Was supposed to have I think the master planning was superbly done by both staff and the professionals.
Okay, so. Flexibility is a good word. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments or questions? Yes, Stephen.
Thank you. Just a quick question. As far as the new construction, do we have an estimated building lifetime on those? I know there's various models, but is there kind of a general idea on life expectancy?
Brandon McLaughlin, we tend to forecast 50 years, knowing that at 30 to 35 years, it will likely need some capital improvement.
And would that then, that was my next question, was as far as the capital modernization or the complete modernization on the other campuses, would that be about that 30-year mark and looking to a 20-year extension on their usefulness?
Yep, all those comp mods would be right in that sweet spot.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen. Do we have any other questions, comments? I want to say thank you for doing it in this manner. To be able to see those buildings versus a line on a spreadsheet is actually very pleasing to my visually minded self. And I did note that YouTube does have several flyovers of some of these buildings. So if there are people that want even more intense of a visual experience. But I did want to, because we talk so much in spreadsheets and things here, that if there are opportunities for the Bond Oversight Committee to be invited to see some of these campuses in person, I do think that does help with the doing of this work so that it becomes a bit more real to understand what is happening. But congratulations on a very successful, very busy summer. With that, and if we have no other comments, we will move on from 2.06. It just feels like 2000. And we haven't even gone that long yet. We're an hour and a half. So let's move to 2.08. This is an action item, future agenda planning. We have one item to address right now, which is agendizing a recommendation on cost comparisons for CTAs. Is there any other items that people would like to introduce as possible future agenda items?
Just open for discussion on, Rodney alluded to it. Is it our responsibility as the bond oversight to recommend to the trustees that we need to request more funding, more bond funding, or is that the trustees to do that?
Rodney Fouts, for the record. I believe our CFO is very aware of what needs to occur. The point is we had just gotten it, not this last legislative session, but the previous one before that. So essentially 2.5 years ago. The idea is probably we will be looking at it, in my mind, if not the next time, 2 years right after that. But I don't think there's any problem with making recommendations for additional funds at any time.
So do you recommend to the trustees, is that how that process works? So that however that financing works for the
Right.
bond.
You typically, I believe, our CFO would have that discussion not only with the board, they have it with the community engagement unit, or government relations. Obviously, walking into the legislative session, we have several individuals from our government community relations that will go there and present and discuss various bills that we would like. At that same time, they will probably be approaching the idea of, is there any way that we can get additional capital funds to move forward? What occurred in the last session where we asked for the additional funds, we were requested to provide them a list of projects that we would like to do, rather than in the previous time, they just provided the money and say, do what you need to. So it was more specific. And the dilemma with that type of approach is it kind of handcuffs you to some degree, because the idea is I have to spend these funds on these projects. And even though I still have the funds available from the original 10 years, that now has become very limited on the things of comprehensive modernizations, doing standard modernizations like HVAC and so forth, which is probably the direction we will be going.
Okay, the only reason I ask is if we needed to put that on an agenda item so that we're not waiting until 2030,
Sorry, hold on. Brandon, did you want to say something?
Well, it's more so related to Ms. Williams' item. I don't know that you guys necessarily, I'm all for efficiency. Oh, yeah. In each of these items, I've been saying, what's the item, what was discussed, and what the recommendation is, because then that's what I hand to your guys' trustee liaison to provide a report to the board.
Right.
So, I mean, of the first one we heard, which was 2.07, I just merely made, the recommendation is that we evaluate CTEs, this model versus that. And then that's the recommendation of the committee.
If we don't need to vote on it, then earlier I had looked over at Ms. Pugh to kind of understand whether or not, and maybe I misunderstood. So I'd like some guidance. If that's a sufficient process, then yeah, I'm all for not having to agendize that, but I would like some feedback because I didn't it means that I don't quite understand.
So you have to agendize whatever you want to deliberate and take action on, or take action on. So if there's some desire for this committee to deliberate on a specific topic, then it should be agendized.
Right, so if we want to debate or have a conversation on a recommendation, that would need to be agendized. If Brandon walks away from this meeting as this is an issue that the Bond Oversight Committee is concerned about, it does not need to be agendized.
Correct.
So if Brandon is telling me that he is walking away with an ability to bring up this concept of a concern to the Board of School Trustees, then we can avoid having a more formal conversation about it.
You can, however, you previously did make a motion, seconded and passed, that you would be agendizing it. So now you would have to make another motion to, correct.
Got it. Yes, Brandon.
I'd say I defer to her in that if the committee feels it cleaner to agendize something so that a full board recommendation can be made, I think that's probably a more proper way to do it.
And actually, I appreciate that because I think it gives that opportunity for that conversation. So to that end, is there any further discussion about that particular item? Because then I will go ahead and make the motion that we add a action item around a recommendation to the board to consider cost comparisons regarding CTAs.
Second.
All those in favor, please. Sorry, do we have a public comment? Thank you. So that was a motion by me. The second was from who? I'm sorry. Stephen, thank you, Stephen. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. So do we have a discussion around any other future agenda item? Nakia, yes.
I just had a question. So Brandon, when you were going through the capital improvement stuff, you had said that you could circle back with some final cost and explanations on Lundy. Would you be ready to do that by the next meeting, or do you need longer?
I'd say longer,
Okay.
yeah.
I can make a note that we can keep that in, yes. Put it in the parking lot. Yes, any other comments? Do we have someone online?
No, I popped off, but I wanted to be recorded as an aye on that last vote.
Oh, thank you, Byron, I appreciate that. Okay, Chris?
Follow up on Dave Filippo's question regarding financing. I don't think we should lose an opportunity, and I'm not saying for the next agenda, but if we can offer some concepts for maintenance, in my opinion, versus facility impact for future legislative pieces, is that something we can talk about as a board, or is that not appropriate? And I'm fine if it's not.
maintenance is outside of
It is outside of ours, but if you were talking, back to David's question, are there recommendations that maybe we can come up with to say, hey, let's look at a tax for X? We can promote that over to the trustees, and then they figure it could include for maintenance. I'm just thinking longer term, I'm sorry, because I know what I took from the room tax from Mandy Cortez to do the rollover. Nobody's gone back and revisited that, and in my mind, that's another potential collaboration that could come from them to say, hey, we needed an additional X percent to go to maintenance. Thank you for the bond rollover portion, but, so I'm just trying to think outside of the box a little bit without restricting us. And if you don't need us to say anything and you can come up with your own ideas, I'm fine with that. But I was
Well,
just-
you guys are autonomous in that you guys are the recommending body to the trustees, so you guys are free to make whatever recommendation you want, irrespective of us. We don't want to unduly
Right.
influence that, what you guys do or don't discuss.
It doesn't have to happen right now, but I'm just thinking, anticipating, so maybe it's just something we brainstorm. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. You have me thinking as well. All right, do we have anything else for future agenda items, here or online? Okay, and since we already took public comment on that one item, but do we have public comment on this agenda item more broadly? Thank you, Valerie. All right, that closes 2.08. So we will move on to 3.01, public comment period on items not listed as action items on the agenda. Do we have public comment for this section? We do not, so that closes 3.01. So before we move to 4, I just want to note that thank you again for item 5, information only. We'll not discuss that, but these were the items that have been approved by the Board of School Trustees more broadly, so that thank you to staff for continuing to include those and flagging them for us, because we know that your guys' agendas for Board of School Trustees can get quite long, so it is helpful for us to be able to have these flagged for us. So with that being said, I will move to item number 4. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Nikia. So Chris, wait, okay, Chris seconded it, just so that you're clear. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Anyone want to stay here? Okay, great, thank you. Meeting is adjourned at 1:28. Thank you.